the other big thing about this tour, of course, is the playing of Fragile and Close to the Edge in full. I mean, how would you contrast those two records? What do you think the missions were of those two records when you were making them?
Well, I don't know if that we were really involved in missions really back then. I think we were just doing what came naturally at the time, and Fragile was another one of those albums that we had very little time to do the whole project in, and that's why it sort of ended up being an album with 4 songs on it, and then the solo tracks that filled in
right.
the other part of it, but mainly because of a lack of time. But fortunately, what we did do turned into one of our best-known albums. So, and then when we came to Close to the Edge, of course, that was when we were attempting to do the first album with a long, a 20-minute long piece of music, which back in the days of vinyl was about the length of time you could get onto a vinyl album with it and maintain the sound quality. So, so that album's memorable for that, really, and that we pulled off of the long form music, which of course we became, famous for.
What was it like being part of a rhythm section with Bill Bruford versus Alan White?
Well, actually, that's an interesting question. Bill, of course, was, with Yes from the ground up from the first album, and we had a great relationship in terms of what we did. We really didn't plan it. He just played like he played, which was a very jazzy influenced style of drumming, and I, had my more, but like Who influenced, if you like, kind of a style of bass playing, and so and somehow or other the two fit together in a peculiar way that became a thing, became a sound. And then, of course, when Bill left after Close to the Edge and Alan came in, Alan was almost 180 degrees different as a drummer from Bill. As you know, Alan had various rock staples under his belt, like playing on Imagine and playing on the George Harrison album at the time. So he came from a very different school. But at the end of the day, playing with both drummers was a great education for me, because their styles, in a way, were so different. But unfortunately, my style seems to fit with both of them. And, good.
What about Bill's temperament? I mean, he's known to sort of not suffer fools gladly. Did he push you as a musician pretty hard?
I think we had quite a fluid relationship, actually, from what I remember. Bill was pretty outspoken, but I welcome that in a way. It's good to have someone who has a clear idea of what he wants and how he wants to play, and as I said, it all seemed quite natural to me what Bill was doing, and we definitely came up with a few things together that have stood the test of time.
Was there any debate within the band or even within management or the label? You have this hit album with Fragile. It has a song that could be pared down to a nice hit single, and yet you come back with Close to the Edge. Was there any sort of pressure to come back with more hit singles?
Not really, I don't think. I mean, remember, this was very much the era of the album being the important part, and the single thing was secondary, really, for in that era. Although, of course, I remember, I think all of us were a little bit even surprised that Atlantic Records even wanted to cut down Roundabout to make it into a more palatable radio kind of digestive piece of music. So What can I say? We went along with it. We weren't really ever happy with the edit. When we did it with some Atlantic engineer in New York, and we didn't think it was a very good edit, but it went out anyway, and then of course millions of people heard it. So
yeah,
ultimately it was a good thing. But,
yeah,
but we were never really focused on singles.
Yeah. Now, possibly toot your horn a little bit. Close to the Edge is often talked about as the greatest prog rock album of all time. Why do you think people say that?
It's just timing. I think I don't think it stands out particularly from other albums we've made. To a certain extent it does, as I've already said, because of the going into the area of the long form piece, which was not really anyone else was doing. Although I do have to tip my hat to the Who, that they'd already done their kind of rock opera sort of thing, which was kind of loosely based our idea upon that sort of concept too. And I don't know, it's like close to the Edge, it's still very enjoyable to play those songs, all three of them actually, and people really have a fond memory of that album. That's why it is so successful in the live situation.